No, your computer is not glitching. That was me screwing around. At 6 in the morning, you're damn right I'm going to. Well, it was an interesting day yesterday. So, let's see. You got a bunch of errands to run. It's the weekend. You got to go shopping. You got to get the groceries. You got to wash the car. And, well, I have not really driven the car I normally drive for 7 weeks. Yeah, it's summer break. And I figured, hey, I'm going back to work soon. Got to start to, doing something again. And one of the objectives was to get the car washed. Now, I get in there. I'm going to just take it to the local place and, get a little scrubby scrub on it. That's like $6-7. And get in. Battery's dead. So I'm like, oh, shit, come on. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to jump start it. There's a point to this. So have the old lady pull the car around, and we use her nice car to jump start. So, I'm like, hey, I think we got some jumper cables. Not my jumper cables, but we got jumper cables. So she climbs in the trunk because the trunk doesn't open because she doesn't own a cheap ass. And I will only buy and get and drive POSs. If you saw the car I drive, it's a POS, but it gets me from point A to point B. I'm not looking to entertain anybody. So, well, she climbs in the trunk because the trunk doesn't open. Gets the jumper cables out. And you hook them up, right? I'm alive. Yes. Well, they start smoking. Jumper cable starts smoking. So I'm like, oh, shit. This isn't good. They're hooked up correctly. I don't want to hear it. They are hooked up correctly. So like, well, we can't have this because clearly the cables or the jumper cables themselves are either cheap or they are not insulated correctly. So, as any man would do, I go to grab it. And you can see my hand. You go to grab it. Do you think the plastic was melted? Do you think the plastic was melted? What do you guys think? Well, it was. And I burned the shit out of my hand. Let's see if we get that. Let's see if we get that. It's not terrible. It's boiled. I don't know if you can zoom in, but it's in like here's the thing. It's actually not that bad. It's just in the worst possible spot because that's where you bend your fingy. And then I got a little bit here. But that was fun. So, called AAA out and the battery's dead, which I already knew. And, that was a whole fiasco. So, that's what I get to do today after the show. Gotta get a new battery. Can you believe it? A couple $100 for a new battery, dude? What's going on, huh? Ridiculous. Anywho, that was yesterday. Today's today. It's good to see all of you. Don't you love it? Have you guys ever noticed that when just listen to people's conversations and the things that they say? Conversations, all it is just people saying the most obvious stuff. Yeah, it's hot outside. Yeah, it isn't it, Jake? Yeah, the weather's pretty it's pretty warm today, isn't it? Yeah, the humidity's pretty out of control. But today's today, tomorrow's tomorrow. If you guys ever notice that, a lot of conversations just don't really mean anything. Well, here's the thing. I'm also delaying this because the internet's not working for me very well. And I don't know if even my stream is live, put it that way. I will switch to my screen just so you can see what I'm dealing with here. My pages will not load at the top whatsoever. Matter of fact, my YouTube stream won't even show me the YouTube stream. So no idea if I am live whatsoever and if people are actually seeing this. So Rumble, don't know. YouTube, not a clue. But we're going to do it live, and we're going to roll with the punches and kind of see what happens here. This is always fun. Well, the big news at the end of last week was Donald Trump dispatches nuclear submarines after provocative statements from Russia. So, words are very important. It can often lead to unintended consequences. I hope this will not be one of those instances. We'll see what we can get through for this. What we have. We might have to restart the whole computer here, folks. This ain't good. This ain't good at all. President Donald Trump said on Friday that he ordered 2 U.S. nuclear submarines to be positioned in the appropriate regions. A lot of people were calling for Cold War just the other day in response to highly provocative statements of former President Russia Dmitry Medvedev. Now, Dmitry Medvedev is somebody we've talked about quite a bit. He's the former president of Russia, but he also has a big mouth on Twitter, let me tell you. Based on highly provocative statements of the former president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, who is now the deputy chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, meaning he's no like small, low-level guy. I've ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be positioned in appropriate regions, just in case these foolish and inflammatory statements are more than just that. Words are very important. It can often lead to unintended consequences. I hope this will not be one of those instances. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I mean, that is a serious and bold ex-post. I know Trump likes being a provocative figure sometimes. He likes to, rile up the progressive left. But when you start getting into these types of escalations with Russia, it kind of, that's where politics is not funny to me anymore. That's where things get a little bit sketchy and a little bit hairy, that I perk up a little bit. Now, Medvedev, who is currently serving as the chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, said earlier this week that Trump's ultimatum to Russia were a step towards war. Well, here's the thing. I was talking with some guys over on TikTok, and the longer this Ukraine thing keeps going, the more I think it almost as if like Russia is not like a superpower in terms of military, because there's only 2 options. Either they're not going full force on Ukraine, kind of like we were with Vietnam, or they legitimately just have an extremely weak military and they're not as big and mighty as we thought. And the only thing they really have right now are nuclear warheads, which, hey, makes you, I guess it does make you a superpower because you could, blow up the entire world. But in terms of your military, I'm not so sure, man. I don't know if Russia really has one anymore. So we'll see kind of how this evolves. But Trump has been pushing Russian Vladimir Putin to agree to a peace deal. This should be ending by August 9th. So, let's see, by the end of this week. This is the last week that he has to figure his ish out before you have those tariffs, which again is not really going to do much. And we'll get there because there's some shady stuff even going on with China and Iran, which we'll break down for you all in just one moment. If you can hit that thumbs up button, I would greatly appreciate it. It does help the show out tremendously. Thank all of you for always supporting the show, helping out me and everybody else. I appreciate it, you guys. God bless you. Alrighty, well, let's see if the next article actually wants to populate, and it does. Oh wow, look at that. We had to do that. Trump defends decision to move nuclear subs after Russian comments. He was speaking to members of the press in the White House lawn. The president explained that Medvedev's statements have raised enough concern that he felt the move necessary, and that was just the ones he did out there in the open. It makes you wonder kind of what moves were necessary behind the scenes. And I'm trying to see if I can get the video going for you guys. So just give me one moment here. I apologize for the technical difficulties, but there's nothing I can do about it. So here is Trump on the White House lawn.
Deploy the nuclear submarine.
Oh, yeah. Well, we had to do that. We just have to be careful. And a threat was made, and we didn't think it was appropriate, so I have to be very careful. So I do that on the basis of safety for our people. A threat was made by a former president of Russia, and we're going to protect our people.
We are being deployed.
And good for him. I mean, and he's right. You got to protect the people. Putin had deceived Bush, Obama, Biden. He's not someone you can trust just to negotiate with. China Xi knows this better than Trump and didn't get fooled by Putin. He's never a reliable partner. That is correct, which is why Trump, when I always remember, I think it was the European Union or Germany, was talking about getting some energy from Russia. Trump just started calling them out on it. Go, well, basically, I'm paraphrasing. This is years ago. Like, why would you do that? That's pretty insane. And then they started laughing at Trump. Y'all remember that famous laugh that they were doing at him? And well, it came back around and bit them in the you know what, because it didn't work out so well, and they were legitimately burning wood to stay warm over there in Europe. And when you're at the point where you're burning wood for fuel, you know things are bad. So that's there for you. We'll see what happens. We'll keep you up to date. It makes things nervous. You hope that Putin's not crazy enough. You really do. But he's crazy. The guy's killed a lot of people. And he's led a lot of people in the war too. I'm not saying our presidents haven't done the same thing before, but that's the last thing we want is nukes going off. Well, President Donald Trump said on Friday as well that he had been informed nearly 20,000 Russian soldiers were deleted in combat over the last month, which is terrible. It's young men that could have had lives, could have had wives and children, prosperity in their country. But this guy decides, hey, you know what? No, I want to take back some soil. That's fun. I want to take some land that I think is mine. So I'm just going to go throw bodies at it for soil and dirt. Makes sense. Yeah. Raising the total number of Russian military deaths during this ridiculous war with Ukraine to 112,500. Trump added that Ukraine has lost around 8,000 soldiers since the first. I've heard there was rumors that the Russians have lost like a million people. Now, how true that is, I don't know. But that was a report that I did a while ago, that if you take in total culmination of everything that's happened since he decided to invade Ukraine, those were the numbers. Now, that could be misleading. That could be, Western propaganda. Who really knows? It's just that's what people are saying. That's a lot of unnecessary death, Trump wrote. Ukraine has also lost civilians, but in smaller numbers, as Russian rockets crash into Kiev and other Ukrainian their localities. This is a war that should never have happened. He keeps saying this. This is Biden's war. It's not Trump's. I'm just here to see if I could stop it. People wonder, why does Trump repeat himself? Well, because you never know what people are going to be able to see for the first time. Maybe they're hearing this for the first time. You have to remember, not a lot of people watch podcasts in the morning or listen to the news. They wake up, they take care of their kids, they go to work, they come home, they watch Love Island or whatever the hell that show's called, and they go back to bed. They're not really involved in politics. So it is good to repeat yourself. But for us, it kind of seems, well, why is he always doing it? He needs to. He needs to. Precise casualty numbers in the Ukraine-Russia war have been difficult to estimate given both countries' propaganda efforts to undercount the total number of deaths on either side. The most recent estimate said that Russia would, there you go. There's the one that we reported on a while ago. Russia would see 1 million soldiers either dead or wounded by the summer of 2025. That's just terrible, man. It's god awful. And it is very frustrating that something like that is taking place. So let's make sure that we're still doing okay. Everybody okay on the stream? Is everything coming through okay? Loud and clear. Mic test 1, 2. Let me know if everything's going okay. Again, it looks like everything's loaded, so we should be good. Daddy should be good. Well, that's what's going on over there. Let's hope maybe this week, hey, sometimes the power of prayer is effective, and maybe, just maybe, this war will stop this week. I doubt it. But I could still be hopeful. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. And a lot of young men are dying. A lot of young men. Over again, absolutely nothing. And this is fun. I just spilt my coffee. Give me one moment here. I'm going to stand up. Oh, boy. That's what happens when you don't have dexterity in your hand anymore. Just spilt my coffee all over the place. Well... moving on. Here we go. No, I'm dead. I'm not kidding. I really did spill my coffee. Let me take a little. Alrighty. Well, enemy overhead. How Chinese drones are quietly claiming American airspace. This really perked me up because, well, y'all remember the East Coast drones over there in Jersey? What happened? I mean, Trump came out and said, oh, it's just us. And it's just, kids flying their damn drones around. Really? Like, that story kind of fizzled out really quick, did it not? Because it's kind of weird because Joe Biden wouldn't come out and say what it was. I mean, I didn't expect him to, right? Joe didn't know what the hell was going on. Joe's like, flying what? Things stand flying. I knew the Wright brothers. Like, sure you did, Joe, you freaking psycho. So this perked me up because is it the Chinese? Is it the Russians? With amazement, we saw how Ukraine and Israel embedded drones into enemy territories, lying in wait until the time was right to turn them into weapons of war, all controlled remotely. This very strategic foundation is being laid throughout rooftops across American cities. Now, mind you, remember, there are sleeper cells in this country right now, and you don't have to look further to see what Ukraine and Russia are doing in terms of these advancements in modern warfare with these drones. You know, you got cables all across the battlefield, these wires to keep them connected. I mean, there's just thousands and thousands of miles of cable just everywhere, almost like spider webs. And we've showed them here on the show. And well, you all remember that famous drone attack where they had these trucks and the roofs came off the shipping containers and these like mobile homes, these mobile offices basically. And they flew the drones and they attacked those bombers over there at a Russian military base. Well, what's stopping the Chinese from doing that to us? What's stopping maybe some terrorists doing that to us here and doing some sort of attack? You have, a matter of fact, let me see if I can pull that up for you really quick. There was this X post this morning that I saw from Legend. Now, he's not familiar to you. He's the one that broke the story originally on us giving the Taliban, what was it, like 80 plus $80 million every week. So here's his post here. What's coming next will make 9/11 look like a dress rehearsal. Ignoring them won't make them go away. Paying the Taliban won't make them stop their words. Until we put the black flag on top of the White House, stop ignoring the threats out of Afghanistan. Yeah, there's some real deal going on here with terrorists, and this is the Legend right here. I actually don't know what the guy looks like, but we were highlighted in one of his videos, as you guys saw. And shout out to, I think it was Krager or Jason for flagging that for us and letting us know that we were highlighted in one of his videos. And the guy's a big follower. Like I said, he's the one that broke a big story. And it did get through, by the way. His efforts did get through to where we are not paying the Taliban anymore. And all thanks to Tim Burchett, by the way. And, you know, praying for his speedy recovery. If you recall, he got a broken rib because he got kicked in the freaking ribs by a horse. You know? Whew. Well, anywho, drones are proliferating around the world for every imaginable use, for public safety, infrastructure inspection, delivery services, and of course, warfare. Cameras are getting better, flight times are increasing, and costs are coming down. These alluring trends are not slowing. Technological breakthroughs hold great promise for Americans to grow our economy and protect our nation. While technological breakthroughs are typically created for betterment of mankind, nefarious ideas are often followed. The Wright brothers, etc., flying to buildings, intentionally killing, 3,000 people. Most of the drones in the U.S. are made by companies serving our main geopolitical rivals, China. About 3/4 of American drone market is dominated by Chinese-made drones, meaning there are roughly 700,000 Chinese drones flying over our country already, with cameras, with maybe there's chips in there that can go rogue on us. Just lovely. But no, this is good. Yeah, let's just keep manufacturing over in other countries. This is great, you guys. Yeah, it's good. It's not a national security threat whatsoever. I love it. Oh, well, Trump's tariffs, you're just paying the tax here. Yeah, I'm willing to pay a tax here, knowing that my safety is there as well. I look at that as I'm calling it a safety tax is what I'm calling it. Knowing that hopefully we could build manufacturing here so I don't have to rely on the Chinese, so I don't have to rely on the Russians, so I don't have to rely on anybody for anything, because that's the way I grew up and it's worked out well so far. I would like to rely on my country, men and women, for in a time of need, if things bleep hits the fan, that I know we can go in and rock some shit. Yeah, I don't want to exactly rely on the Chinese man, right? The Chinese gold farmer for absolutely anything. But for some reason, a lot of Americans are always willing to bend over for the Chinese and everybody else, always willing to bend over rather than going, hey, you know what? Maybe we got to figure this out, because rumors are right now that China is going to invade Taiwan. And if you didn't see the flags going up this weekend, boy, you've been living under a rock, because Taiwan and other countries have been sounding the alarm over the weekend about China going into Taiwan. Taiwan, the island itself, is starting to prepare for an invasion from the Chinese. You go, well, Brad, come on. We've heard this for years. Correct, you've heard it for years, and I keep emphasizing this. A couple years ago, we've been calling this out for literally 2.5, maybe 3 years now, that there are war plans to go into Taiwan in 2025. And how do we know that? Well, from both sides. Hell, we looked at the general that released a memo to his lower embodiment meaning the troops below him, that they need to start gearing up. They need to fill out their wills, their trusts, all that stuff with their families, because there's a good chance that in 2025, we said this 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago, we showed you the memo itself, we showed you the receipts, that they were planning on going in 2025. That's the expectation from the intelligence the United States military has. And then we went a step further, like a month or two later, and we covered an entire story of audio from the Chinese military of what their plans were in terms of going into Taiwan, when they were going to do it, and how they were going to do it. Hell, we actually had information of which provinces specifically. I showed you the map. We showed you the material of what exactly those provinces were in terms of why they would need them if they were ever to invade Taiwan, and that they were building up security measures for those specific provinces around China, because if they were deleted, then that ends all military supply to whatever war that they were going to take place in terms of invading Taiwan or whatever else. So you got to look, I hope it doesn't happen, but I'm just telling you what is out there in the news. Will it happen? Maybe. Will it not happen? Maybe. I don't know. Nobody knows. Just giving you what I've read. So if anyone thinks that this is paranoid or excessive, remember that China, there is effectively no such thing as a private sector. Chinese drone companies, like the other Chinese companies, are ultimately answerable to the Chinese Communist Party. Correct. And now they're flying over everything, right? They're flying by our military installations. There's a bunch of Chinese land American land, American farmland was bought up by the Chinese. Now, why our government allows it to happen? Because our government are idiots. They allow the Chinese to buy farmland right next to, just so happens, all over the country, right next to our military installations. Oh, that's no problem. Not a big deal. Why is that a problem? Really? Because they were doing a lot of surveillance, the Japanese were, during World War II, owning businesses right there next to our military installations, taking photos of what Hawaii looked like, Pearl Harbor, sending that stuff back. Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, no big deal. Yeah. I mean, how many times have we caught Chinese nationals trying to infiltrate our military and pay off our military personnel to send back a bunch of our intelligence? All the time. All the time. And that's just the stuff we hear about. Can you imagine what goes on behind the scenes that we don't hear about? So this drone stuff is a mega problem for us here that we got to figure out and get under control, because this can't happening. And this whole talk of, well, we need Ukrainian drone technology because we don't have it. I don't believe that one damn bit. I've seen some of the stuff that Lockheed Martin has produced here. You know, I've seen it flying. We've seen the photos. Give me up. You're telling me that we can create the most stealth of stealth? I mean, we have stuff that even the Navy SEALs, the SEAL Team 6 didn't even know about. You know, when they went into Obama's compound, that was the first time anybody's even ever heard of a stealth Black Hawk. Oh yeah, we've had it for years. Nobody had ever seen it before, ever. That happened over a decade ago. You're telling me we don't have some serious stuff? Remember, we only release to the public stuff that's kind of basically almost obsolete now. What I mean by that is we only release the stuff that's like, oh yeah, we've had this for like a decade. Yeah. Then Putin comes out and goes, oh, we're going to release, we have a hypersonic nuclear warhead. Nothing's capable of taking that out. You're an idiot. You're an idiot if you believe that. Yeah, if you didn't hear, Putin was talking about these hypersonic missiles and basically take out Europe in 10 minutes. He's like, oh, nothing. You don't have any fight. Well, you're okay. Well, don't get me wrong. If he's talking explicitly about the European Union, yeah, they don't have anything because they want to rely on us for defense. See, all these other countries on the other side of the globe rely on us for defense. See, I think we're okay over here. I believe we have the technology to take it out. Now, the European, the French, nah, I'm not so sure. Probably not. But, you know, hey, that's the gamble they want to take. 10 minutes, not a long time to react. That's basically where you, crap your pants, hold on to your wife and kids and say, well, we had a good run. Now, yeah, secret transfers. China's dark fleet helps Iran sneak oil past U.S. sanctions. Uh-oh. China's reportedly using a dark fleet to conduct secret ship-to-ship transfers of Iranian oil in an effort to evade U.S. sanctions on Tehran's tankers. CBS News sent a crew to scout an area roughly 80 nautical miles from Singapore and found 4 ship-to-ship transfers occurring. All the dark fleet tankers had their transponders switched off and clearly do not want to be identified. Well, of course not. Both ships have a net or something, a tarp deployed over the stern covering the name and identification number. It's obvious deceptive practice. Charlie Brown, senior advisor with the United Against Nuclear Iran and What kind of name is this? Advisor with United Against Nuclear Iran. Jeez, Willies. But it looks like Charlie Brown made it big, huh? Yeah, we haven't seen him on the television in a while. Well, he grew up. Charlie Brown grew up. Wah, 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 wah. Remember when you listened to the teacher? Wah, 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 wah. Charlie Brown grew up to be a senior advisor, can you believe it, to the United Nations, or rather United Against Nuclear Iran, and advisor to the Trump administration. Who knew that Charlie Brown would grow up to be a Republican? Holy lordy. Making America great again, Charlie. Son of a bitch, I grew up with you too. Dark Fleet for years. This is a Dark Fleet parking central. He commented, calling one ship the Tiffany, a well-known Dark Fleet tanker. So there you have it. That's just lovely. They transfer the crude to ships bound for China, which buys 90% of Iran's oil. So there you have it. China. You know, you really do realize how scummy the Chinese government is. Look, with the stuff that's coming out about our own government, look, I ain't saying that we ain't slimy either. Let me tell you, with it's just specifically one party that does the slimy crap. The Democrat Party. I mean, everything that's come out from Tulsi Gabbard, give me a break here. I'm not saying we're holier than thou, but it's always the Chinese, right? They steal our stuff. The Chinese don't really, I think the last thing they've actually made that's really, had a net benefit on the world, on society, if you want to call it a net benefit, that gunpowder. That's you'd have to go back hundreds and hundreds of years to see the last thing the Chinese actually invented and came up with. Now people are, come on, they came up with this. Okay, we get it. They came up with other stuff. It was satire. You always have these lefties that can't take a joke and they can't read the fact and have a little bit of fun ever. Unbelievable. Well, that's what's going on there with the Chinese. Now they're taking somebody else's oil. They steal our intellectual property. They don't play fair. That's typical. Well, moving forward here in terrorism, global affairs, foreign affairs, I guess we'll call it, is cult of cruelty, ghastly photos, videos of emaciated Israeli hostages released by Gaza terrorists. This is really, really rough footage, by the way. So there's this individual that was posted online this weekend, and forgive me for mispronouncing his name, but I think it's Eviatar. I apologize. His last name's David, I believe. For the rest of my life, I will judge the NGOs, media outlets, and governments around the world that gave this demonic behavior by Hamas a pass or turned a blind eye. If Israel has to be alone in the face of this Islamic death cult, so be it. I stand with Israel. So this guy's been in a tunnel since October 7th, basically. And this is what starvation looks like. I do want to, this is Holocaust type stuff, really. The fact that his hair isn't falling out yet is actually remarkable. But this guy's clearly malnourished, skin and bones. And this is what they looked like during the Holocaust. And I will tell you, I have yet to see, I'm not saying this doesn't happen. Okay. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I have not seen an adult look like this in Gaza yet. Again, I'm not pro-Israel. I'm not anti-Israel. I'm not pro-Palestinian, anti-Palestinian. I am just saying what I have seen. And people lose their minds over this stuff. I'm like, oh, well, you're paid. You're Western propaganda. You're a Zionist or whatever. Like, whatever, dude. You're an idiot. If you're just an idiot. Okay, you got to pull your head out of your, you know what? I'm just reporting what I've seen and heard. God forbid you do that nowadays. I know you can't do it because you're obviously on somebody's side. But I have not seen. So I've watched video endlessly of people going after the trucks, people going out and getting food. I haven't seen a kid look like this, and I haven't seen an adult look like this yet. And all the footage I've watched of people getting aid over there in Gaza, haven't seen it. So this is what's going on there. The water. I don't even know if this guy's still alive, to be honest. They had a video of him digging his grave in the tunnel. So, man, I guess is what he looked like before, and it's not good. It's not good. I don't want to show the video of him digging. It's just not. It's not something I just don't want to see that. I've seen it enough already, and it's terrible. So Hamas is still over there. There was video of some Palestinians recording Hamas taking like 3 or 4 truckloads of food. So bunch of stuff that you're just being lied to on both sides, by the way, both sides. But who knows what's true and what isn't. It's terrible nonetheless. That's all it is. It's just terrible. But people don't realize that there's still evil out in the world, and people want to harm other people and do heinous stuff. you have to understand, this is just stuff that we hear about in the media. Can you imagine what happens on a daily basis over there not just in our country, but in other people's countries as well? The horrific acts of these terrorists. Horrific. I mean, there is some real evil out there, and we forget about it sometimes because we got it pretty damn good over here. Regardless of whatever we may be going through, we got it really damn good over here in the United States, man. Let me tell you. You want a wake-up call? Read a book? Or just watch some footage of some stuff that's going on over there in the Middle East. They'll change your perspective really quick and be like, you know what? It ain't that bad. Yeah, life ain't that bad. Got pretty damn good here. Well, Witkoff and Huckabee tour Gaza Humanitarian Foundation site as group distributes 100 millionth meal. But don't worry, I was told they aren't getting meals over there. I was told they're not getting nothing. They're getting food. And by the way, I guess the United Nations isn't willing to bring in a lot of food either. It's just sitting out there. So Steve Witkoff, United States Special Envoy to the Middle East, and Mike Huckabee, the U.S. Ambassador to Israel, toured a humanitarian aid distribution site operated by the U.S.-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, the GHF, today, as the organization marked the distribution of its 100 millionth meal. Wow. For more than 5 hours, Witkoff and Huckabee observed the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation distributing aid to civilians in the Gaza Strip. I was told this wasn't happening, but it's weird because it is happening. And assessed site conditions to report back to President Donald Trump on the group's ongoing work. Witkoff said the purpose of the visit was to give Trump a clear understanding of the humanitarian situation and help craft a plan to deliver food and medical aid to the people of Gaza. And sorry, I keep touching my face. My freaking mustache keeps going to my nose and it's itchy. It's itchy. Now, I like this because you could tell Trump's still old school. What do I mean by that? Boots on the ground, get the eyes out there and see what's happening. See something, say something. I love that. And by the way, can I just call this out? I love how his belly's protruding. It's so funny and his helmet's on crooked. People, can I just deviate for a second? It totally reminds me of when I used to work at Staples. You used to have these guys, you know, that the bibs that they would wear when they go on those cycling, this like the Lance Armstrong type guys. You know, you have the clip-in shoes and they walk like this. They got to walk with their feet up because that's how the clip-ins work. And they have their helmet on. So they used to walk in when I worked at Staples in college, and their helmets were crooked and walk like this. Their bellies are all protruding, right? They're still heavy set. They could ride like 100 miles, but their bellies are still hanging out. Do you guys sell Staples? Can you imagine having that hit you in the morning? Their helmets all crooked, right? They're in a bib, right? It's like skin tight. Their balls are protruding out, and so is their belly, and they're clacking in their shoes. Do you guys have Staples? And you're looking around, and it says on your shirt, Staples, with a staple logo right above it. And can you imagine me? I'm like, because I'm a smart ass, I'll fuck with you. I'm like, I don't think so. Like you're looking at, I don't think so. By the way, if you think that was a one-off, it was not. I worked there for like 4 or 5 years. I worked through college. And no, you'd be surprised, man. They'll walk in with their helmet on backwards. That happened too. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it did. A guy walked in. I couldn't, you know, you don't expect it. Something's off. And you're kind of like looking, right? You're like, what's going on with this guy? And you figure it out. You're like, his helmet's on backwards. You know where like the pointy end's supposed to be in the back? You know what I mean? Because you're trying to break the wind, break wind. Careful with that. Yeah, it was on the front. And then you realize his helmet's on backwards. No, I didn't tell him. I let him be. Sometimes you just got to let people be, you guys. Anywho, Steve Witkoff was there, a bunch of other people to see what's going on. So look, they're giving the meals out. Let me see if I can find it. There was a really great clip from Joe. You guys have seen Joe, the older millennial. We're friends. Not really. I don't know him that well, but we follow each other on TikTok. Older millennial. Let me see if I can find him really quick. And he had actually a pretty good video, and he makes a good point. Not that I fully agree, but let me see if this is it here really quick. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. It was regarding the aid from Israel. Here we go.
Between Israel and Gaza. And seriously, if you could explain this to me, I'd love to hear it. So Israel and Gaza are at war with each other. But right now, Israel is catching shit for not sending enough aid into Gaza, which, by the way, isn't the case. There's shitloads of aid sitting there that Israel let in. The UN's just not fucking distributing it because every time they try to, they get attacked by gangs and people lose their life and shit gets stolen. But I'm not even trying to argue about that. No, my problem is historically, for war, that doesn't make sense. Like, do me a favor and see if you can find any example in history of this, where two countries are at war with each other and one of those countries is catching shit because they're not sending enough aid to the country they're fighting. I've never heard of that. Like when South Korea and North Korea went to war, did South Korea catch shit for not sending aid to the people of North Korea? Like when Russia and Ukraine started fighting, is it Russia's responsibility to send aid to the people of Ukraine? I mean, look, take any conflict you want. Take any war from the history of the fucking world. When have one of the countries that is involved in the war caught shit for not sending aid to the country that they're fighting? I seriously can't think of any time this ever happened. But apparently, when Israel's in a war they didn't fucking start, by the way, not only do they have to wage the war, but they also have to provide aid to the people they're fighting. Like, when has that ever been the requirement? Here's something I legitimately don't understand about the war.
So Joe, his name's the older millennial over on TikTok. He doesn't do much YouTube. He should. But believe it or not, Joe is also a peacemaker, believe it or not. Now, what do I mean by that? This must have been like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. Let me pull him up. You guys might remember the Intel guy. So I don't know if you guys remember this guy here, but remember how he made a video about me, kind of ripping me a new one a while ago? I don't even know where it's at. It's somewhere in his catalog. Basically calling me out for being a fearmonger. Oh, it's right here. You guys remember this guy?
Looks like Japan now might be in the mix.
Meet Bald Brad. He's a conservative podcaster, quite a large following on other platforms.
By the way, this was June 2nd. We had 11,500 followers. You guys, we're at like 41,000 now. Isn't that crazy? In like 2 months, we've hit an extra 30,000 followers on TikTok. That's insane, by the way. Just to let you know, like statistically, that is wild. By the way, we just had another video go viral. It's at 1.2 million. We just recorded that like 2 days ago. So that's insane. I don't know. Like we're going viral every week. This is pretty awesome. But you guys, I don't think you fully comprehend how insane that is that we keep striking gold on TikTok. I'm getting more views on videos that people have with 1 million followers or like 400,000 followers. Like Joe has almost 500,000 followers that we just watched, and we're getting more views on most of our videos than he is. It's crazy. So all I want to say is we got ripped a new one here. I didn't say anything wrong. We were going back and forth in the chat. So Joe, the older millennial, was live with the Intel guy, and I write in the chat, "Hey, what's going on?" I was like, "Oh, what are you guys talking about?" And so the Intel guy, I gotta message him and figure out his name. He goes, "Oh, it's Bald Brad," and Joe goes, "Who?" And he goes, "Oh, it's Bald Brad." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm friends with that guy. You guys got beef or whatever?" And so pulls me up, and we actually start chatting. We're friends. Now we're friends. Yeah, he's actually a really cool guy. We send each other our videos. We help each other by commenting. So Peacemaker Joe, appreciate that. But head over to the Intel guy. We're actually made up. Yeah, we don't have any beef. Within like legitimately probably within 30 seconds. We're just like, "Oh yeah, you have pretty good content." He's like, yeah, you got pretty good content too. Huh, interesting. Brad doesn't buy followers. Yeah, I do not buy followers. No way. Nope. You get remember, man, as a conservative content creator, no freaking way. Now, I will say, I guess in some way, shape, or form, that is true, and I just want to explain why. Is because if you go on YouTube, if you have like a YouTube channel, you can promote videos. So you could promote videos that way, and I've done that on YouTube. And so I would say a lot of I'm speculating. I think a lot of the followers that I have actually are like bots, maybe. So we've actually lost. We keep losing subscribers, but I'm okay with that because I think they're just bot accounts, and YouTube kind of flushes them out after a while. So that's why you're going to see our subscriber numbers decrease constantly, which is fine with me. Anywho, so I guess technically that's, do you buy followers if you're doing promotions? I guess. I don't know. But anywho, so we saw this already, just terrible stuff over there. Trump hammers on Canadian, pushes Mexico to cut trade deal in 90 days. So this was kind of news for me. I haven't checked this out yet. So President Donald Trump signed an executive order late Thursday evening, raising the tariff on Canadian imports to 35% effective at midnight, while granting Mexico another 90 days to negotiate a trade deal with the United States. The action comes as the August 1st deadline arrived for countries with trade deficits with the United States to reach new trade agreements. That's something we covered, I believe, on Thursday and Friday of last week. But Canada is the one that's kind of getting the boot in the rear end. Now, he keeps saying cracking down on drug trafficking. To be fair, not a lot of drugs are really passing through the Canadian border, and that is subjective, to be fair. Some of you say there is a lot of drugs coming through, the certain poundage or kilos, however you want to weigh it. That is a lot in your mind. Hey, I get that. I wouldn't even push back on you. Everybody's idea of a lot of drugs is different. But I think in terms of capacity, is it enough to hit them with a 35% tariff? Not really. Maybe Trump looks at it like, we don't really get that much from you. So we'll just hit you with this anyways. And whatever we do get from you is just going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt us, which is true, by the way. Again, I think it's hilarious, you guys. California has almost just as many people as Canada does. At one point or another, we actually had more people in the state of California than the entire country of Canada. And for some reason, they think like, I don't know what it is. It's just they constantly puff out their chest as if there's somebody on this planet. Now, I like the Canadians. I played hockey in Canada. I played hockey in Calgary. I don't have any problem with the Canadians. But, you got to stop. You're small. You're small. You don't have anything. Like, really? I mean, everybody knows Canada for maple syrup. That is it. I don't mean to be a jerk here, but that is really it. Okay, Justin Bieber and Celine Dion. But other than that, that's really it. And by the way, you could take them back. We don't need Celine Dion, and we don't need, careful, I know some of you are big Celine Dion fans. We don't need Justin Bieber. I like Justin. The man's had a rough life, a good life, but a rough life, and we don't need it. Moving forward, enough about Canada. Actually, we have to do something really quick before we move forward. One, hit that like button. Would greatly appreciate that. All the support and help from you guys is always greatly appreciated. You guys freaking rock, by the way. But let's get this going here really quick. Un momento, please, señorita. Let me do this. Bada bing, bada boom. Give me 1 moment, folks. As I set this up for you, we do have an ad read that we need to do. And well, I'm partially blind, basically. So let me get this. All right. Boom and boom. All righty. So what we have here today is, have you ever been tired of paying outrageous prices for your medications while other countries pay a fraction of the cost? Very frustrating. Well, President Donald Trump just signed an executive order to fix this problem. But why wait? Blockbusterhealth.com is offering Americans these savings right now. We're talking up to 80% off, baby. The same exact medications you're already taking. The same brands, the same quality, just fair prices. Whether it's Ozempic, insulin, or any other prescription, blockbusterhealth.com connects you directly with licensed pharmacies that offer international pricing. No middlemen, no markup, just honest prices. Call 1-888-350-1353. Again, that's 1-888-350-1353 or visit blockbusterhealth.com. Americans shouldn't have to choose between their health and their wallet. Check it out. Now, I know a lot of you are going through some health stuff. This is a very important thing to at least check into. Nobody's saying you have to buy, but if there's something there that sparks your fancy, gives you a little bit of tingle-wingle, blockbusterhealth.com is definitely worth a look. When they say you're getting up to 80% off on some of the exact same medication that you may be taking now, I think you'd be a little bit silly not to at least scan the QR code or go to blockbusterhealth.com or call 1-888-350-1353 to see if you can get a deal. I mean, we're all about saving money here on the Bald Brad channel. This is a great sponsor here for the show, especially since we have an older audience. And we all may be going through something. So appreciate those at blockbusterhealth.com for sponsoring the Bald Brad Show today. All righty, moving in. Fewer jobs than expected added in July as unemployment holds steady. You guys, this was a kick in the groin. Kick in the groin for what happened last week. So let's kind of break this down because this is kind of news. People were fired over this. It's kind of interesting. And I'm going to pull up actually the market really quick here to have this queued up for us, see what this kind of looks like, to see if people kind of are not as spooked. So let's go here. Yeah. Alrighty. So fewer jobs were already added to the economy in July than expected, as the unemployment rate remained largely unchanged, according to a report released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The monthly jobs report found that 73,000 jobs were added to the American economy in July, lower than the 100,000 that the Dow Jones had projected. Now, because the market is based on feelings and people just start getting all creeped out and freaked out, they started selling pretty quickly, which is why things dropped. Let me kind of show you what that looked like a little bit here. So this is a 1 month projection, just to give you an idea, to show a little bit of a dip right here on the right hand side of your screen next to my freaking head. But you can see the economic event here and here. And that would be in response to the jobs numbers that came out. There's other things in there as well as the tariffs. It kind of all happened at the same time. But people get spooked. And where we're at with 5 day, you can see it came back up because people go, oh, okay. So it's very reactionary. And, we're climbing back up. We'll see what happens there. But it says here, the healthcare and social assistance industry saw job growth while federal government employment continued to decline, which is good. That's what we want to see. I don't want to see our government getting bigger. It doesn't need to get bigger. It needs to get smaller. The industries of mining, quarrying, oil, gas extraction, construction, manufacturing, wholesale trade, retail trade, transportation, warehousing, information, and finance all saw marginal changes, the report said, which is not what you want to see, by the way. That is not what you want to see, especially when we're trying to bring manufacturing back here, right? We want to drill, baby, drill. We want to get things going. You need to see these numbers increase. Now, again, it's been 6 months and some change, but you got to give this type of stuff some time. You're not exactly going to start drilling tomorrow. Again, it takes years to build trust. It takes seconds to break it. And I got to say, if you're somebody in the energy field, you don't exactly trust whoever's in office because, well, they say one thing and do another constantly. I don't blame them if they haven't even started drilling yet. They have the permits. Even some of those permits are bogus, by the way, that we've covered here on the show. Both the unemployment rate at 4.2% and the number of unemployed people at 7.2 million changed little in July. The unemployment rate has remained in a narrow range of 4.0%. Now, here's the thing. There's also a lot of people that are unemployed that were on like the, Medicare, Medicaid or whatever. And that was part of the big, beautiful bill that you need to, volunteer. If you're between the ages of, 18 to 64 and you're able-bodied, then you need to basically work or volunteer. You need to do something for 20 hours a week to be on this. So you kind of expect maybe the jobs number to go up maybe in the subsequent months here, now that that's kind of rolled in or whenever that takes effect. So that's also something that could be coming as well. But look at this is the problem that people had here. Major revisions were made to the jobs report from May and June, with the July report noting that job growth had been overcounted by 258,000. So that's pretty insane, by the way. That is not a good thing. We talked about these revisions under the Biden administration when he was in office. Revisions for May and June were larger than normal, the report said. The change in total non-farm payroll employment for May was revised down by 125,000, you guys, from 144,000 to 19,000. And the change from June revised down by 133,000. This is not acceptable, by the way, to be throwing these numbers out here because it's fictitious. It's fake. And you're misleading the American people. And by the way, if you're misleading the American people, you're misleading the economy, which people will start investing in things that maybe they shouldn't have been investing in because of based on the numbers that were produced. So this is a big problem. And again, that's why people sell off or they're doing something maybe irrational based on feelings because of some bogus job numbers. Now, Trump did fire this woman from the Biden administration that basically was getting the numbers wrong, seems to be fabricating numbers. I mean, they've been off by 118,000 before, which is insane. Y'all remember that revision? It was like 118,000 or 180,000 or something like that revision to bring the numbers down. when you're off by that amount of numbers, that's not you putting in an extra zero by accident and doing it multiple times. Sorry. No, that's just fabrication. You're a liar. So this is also interesting. Consumer confidence climbs as Trump pushes ahead with tariffs. This is also interesting here. Look at this. American consumer optimism rose for a second straight month, reaching a 5-month high in July as fears of a long-term inflation fell. Remember how for weeks we're going to go into a depression. Trump's going to drive us into a recession. It's over. Everybody careful. Watch your wallets. Do you guys remember that? Dude, for like 3-4 months, that's all we heard. Trump's destroying the economy. We're heading into the Great Depression. DEFCON 5. Y'all remember that? Now all of a sudden, things looking pretty good. Yeah, we don't have to worry about inflation as much. This is great. It's like, okay. Simmer down. The Consumer Sentiment Survey, an indicator of how Americans are thinking about current and future economic health, climbed to 61.7 last month. The highest number since February. While consumer sentiment rose again in July, it still remains far below the base of 100, which is considered a positive indicator for economic optimism. The month-over-month gain from June to July, however, suggests that Americans who were wary of President Donald Trump's so-called reciprocal tariffs back in April are gaining confidence in the economy, even as more tariffs are set to go into effect in the coming days. So hopefully Trump gets all this stuff kind of figured out here. I'm curious, what are we in August? I'll be kind of more so looking at a lot of this stuff probably from October to December. That's when I kind of want to see what the inflation numbers look like. I think if we head into the new year with anything between 2 and 3% inflation, I think we're probably good. If I see anything starting to dip past 3%, by the end of the year, heading into the new year, then you kind of see where things are going, okay, maybe the tariffs are inflationary here and kind of we're feeling the effects of it. So we'll have to see. But we'll keep you updated. But the job numbers, consumer optimism in terms of the confidence in the economy is imbalanced, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. They're kind of two different metrics, but you get what I'm saying. Hopefully you're reading the lines. You're not an idiot. See, I don't have to talk to you guys like you're dumb. Isn't that nice? If you notice, I don't go far in depth in a lot of this stuff. I just assume that you know it. If you don't, I kind of figured, they'll look it up. They're not idiots. I'm not going to treat you like you're stupid. You're not kids. Some of you are, but most of you are older adults. Like, yeah, consumer confidence, the market went down. The job numbers aren't that great. Well, that's weird. When you have job numbers go down, things are going in a reverse direction, graph go down, but then consumer confidence go up. You're kind of like, well, that's kind of opposite. That doesn't really make sense. Yada. Figure you guys can flush it out. You're not dumb. You guys got this. Now, Fed's delay on rate cuts threaten U.S. economy, says 2 dissenting governors eyeing top job. So Federal Reserve Board governors Christopher Waller and Michelle Bowman, both appointed to the body by President Donald Trump, spoke on Friday about the dissent that the Fed's decision to keep interest rates steady, arguing that delaying rate cuts risk harming the U.S. economy. Again, I'm not sold on it. I'm really not. I think if they want to do some cuts, if I was Jerome Powell, I would have cut it by maybe 1/4%, quarter of a point. Just to give a little bit of take, give a little, willing to bend the knee a little bit, and do something. I don't think you need to keep it at whatever it's at. But in 2 separate statements explaining their dissent, Waller and Bowman, both widely considered as potential successors to Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, when his term ends in May, advocated for gradual cuts to interest rates, saying that President Donald Trump's tariffs had little impact on inflation so far. Federal Reserve policymakers voted 9-2 on Wednesday to keep interest rates in the 4.25% to 4.50% range as Trump has blasted Powell and pushed the board to cut rates drastically. The Fed's decision marked the first time since 1993, almost the time since I've been alive. I was born in 89, that multiple governors dissented. So it's costing us a lot of money, especially when you need to refinance a lot of our debt. Trump says somewhere in the tune of, $350 billion for every point. So we'll see. Again, you probably could have cut it slightly. I don't think you need to keep it there, but I don't necessarily blame him for being hesitant in terms of what we saw with the job numbers, because the longer you go, it's really tough because you're trying to predict something and predict it correctly. You can't just exactly look at now's numbers to predict what might happen in the future. And what I mean by that is you saw good numbers before, but now you just saw weak job numbers. The question is, well, that trend could continue here of having weak job numbers. You have the tariffs that are taking place, so you expect the tariffs to cause some inflation, which would make sense. And going, okay, well, you know, we don't expect things to really go in the right direction, so we're going to keep them where they're at now, and we're going to kind of eye this on a long-term basis, kind of see what's going on here. We need more information, more data to see how your policies or your decision-making as a president unfold. I can't really blame him for that. Look, Trump's been pretty erratic on this tariff stuff. So I can't blame a guy for going, look, I'm not exactly sure what you're really doing here. I kind of get it, but I'm not sure how this is going to play out. There's not really a lot of points in history to look at of how this is going to work out because not a lot of people have done erratic behavior on tariffs like Trump has. So, and again, is that a knock towards Trump? A little bit, but I'm sure there's a little bit of resentment, right? Trump's been calling him out, calling him names. So I think there's a little bit of resentment, of course. Anywho, speaking of some other news, Ghislaine Maxwell moved from Florida prison to lower security facility after the meeting. Interesting. Things are happening. Ghislaine Maxwell has been transferred from a Florida prison to a lower security facility in Texas to continue serving her 20-year sentence for helping the late financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein sexually abuse underage girls. I wonder if this is part of just a little bit of the deal that took place. And what do I mean by that? Allegedly, she did give up some names. Okay. Brad on 1.5 is entertaining. What am I on 1.5 for? What are you talking about? But allegedly, she gave up some information from what I heard. And I wonder if she said, hey, you know what? I'll give you something for now, but whatever I give you, if I give you names, will you move me to a lower security facility in Texas, this specific facility? Or maybe they came to her and was like, look, meaning a Deputy U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanchard was maybe like, hey, you know what? This is what I'm willing to give you now. Okay, it's not much, but it's something. You got anything? And maybe she gave him something because now she's at a low security prison and, you know, she wants immunity. So Maxwell's lawyer confirmed she was moved, but said he had no other comment. Spokespeople for the Department of Justice did not immediately respond to the request for comment. The BOP classifies prison camps such as Bryan as minimum security institutions, the lowest of 5 security levels in the federal system. Such facilities had limited or no perimeter fencing. Low security facilities such as FCI Tallahassee have doubled fence perimeters and high staff to inmate ratios. Here's the thing. Doesn't this kind of increase the chances of her getting Clintoned? You know what I'm talking about? Her getting deleted because it's a lower security. There's no fences. You know what I mean? Some effery could happen here and then she gets deleted. Yeah, bro, if she gets deleted, here's my question for the audience. At what point would you, okay, this conspiracy stuff is real, man. There's some sort of nefarious shadow government out there that's deleting people that doesn't want things to come out. At what point do you start going, okay, yeah, you got me? Like, look, there's already people are like that think that this is already going on, right? There's already people that believe, yeah, they went in, they deleted Epstein, they got the guy, they wanted to shut him up. Okay. Now let's say it happens to her. At what point do you go, oh, okay, this is weird? Yeah. Okay, you got my attention now, buckaroo. Just curious on what would make you guys believe. What would make you believers? So that's what's happening there. I'm sure there's going to be more information to come out here, but boy, oh boy, have the Trump administration really dropped the ball on that one. Speaking of dropping the ball, it's something we covered a little bit last week, but it's still funny. There's generally a leader. Colbert presses Kamala to name Democrat top dog. Again, this is something we covered last week, and she couldn't name a single person. You want to know why? It's because there's not a single person. There is no policies that they're doing for the American people. The Democrats are not doing anything. And we'll get there in one moment. If anything, they're fleeing Texas to Illinois to stop the redistricting happening in Texas. Yeah, Democrats have fled Texas, you guys. We'll get there.
You're not running for office right now. Yeah. You're stepping away from that life right now. Who's leading the Democratic Party? I'm just curious.
There are lots of leaders. And
there's lots of figures. I can't. I don't want to name one, but there's lots of figures.
There's generally a leader of the Democratic Party. You know, like, oh, that's the leader of the Democratic Party. And who comes to mind?
I think there are a lot of, I'm not going to go through names because then I'm going to leave somebody out and then I'm going to hear about it. But let me say this. I think it is.
All right, I'm done. I can't do it. I'm done already. 27 seconds. It only goes on for another 20 seconds. And you know what? You guys don't deserve that type of torture. You don't. You've been good to me. And I'm going to be good back. I'm not going to do that to you. That's basically all you need to get out of that as well. There's no leader. They have no agenda. They're not pushing anything for the American people. They're not doing anything whatsoever. They have no idea what the hell they're doing at all. Well, Jaguar, now we're getting to kind of some culture stuff. I'm going to go through this relatively quickly. I don't want to bore you guys, but Jaguar CEO steps down after months of woke rebrand commercial went viral. We covered this Jaguar commercial. We did a while ago. Now you have the CEO of Jaguar stepping down from his position not long after the CEO and the company went viral for basically a rebrand that many deemed ultra woke, and it was the freaking look. This is the commercial. This is Jaguar. I'm gonna mute it because we'll get hit with the freaking copyright. But this is Jaguar, you guys. You're just watching this, okay? You're just watching it. This is a car commercial. Again, we covered this when it came out in the same way we talked about the American Eagle stuff, and we talked about Dunkin' Donuts as well. Yeah, I'm sorry, but that is what does this have to do with cars? Let's say they never put Jaguar on there. Clothing commercial, maybe. So the exec worked in finance for most of his tenure before stepping into to serve as CEO for the past 3 years. No reason was given for his upcoming departure. Gee, I don't know. Maybe Jaguar's not doing so well. I'm not sure. Instead, disjointed phrases such as create exuberant, live vivid, deleted ordinary, blah, blah, blah. Tesla founder Elon Musk said ad writing, do you sell cars? Exactly. That was our thing. I mean, I know things I believe if I have this correctly, things went down for Jaguar. They weren't going in the right direction. I'm not saying it's as bad as Bud Light, but people are tired of woke, man. And that's why American Eagle did it right. American Eagle's stock went through the roof when they released this. And by the way, they're not apologizing. American Eagle is not apologizing. Now, if you've been living under a rock, you have Cindy Sweeney, who is a rocket here. She's an actress. She's gorgeous. And she did a jeans commercial. And because she has good genetics, because she's hot, they made the pun that she has blue eyes and good genetics in the same way that she has good genes because it's a jeans commercial. And the progressives and the lefties went on social media and started going, Nazi genetics. You can't do that. That's bad. So they're not apologizing. So they're refusing to back down, the company said in an Instagram post. Cindy Sweeney has great genes, is and always was about the genes, her story. We'll continue to celebrate how everyone wears the American Eagle jeans with confidence their way. Great jeans look good on everyone. By the way, you would be stupid to apologize, by the way, because your stock went up like 20%. Talk about an idiotic by the way, whoever would apologize should be immediately fired. You never bend the knee to the progressive left, folks. They don't care about you. That's why, again, we showed the first episode I ever did. If you go back to the very first episode I ever did, like over 4 years ago, I talk about how the reason why I decided to do it was all about Gina Carano. I've always wanted to do a podcast like this for years, even way before that. I've created other YouTube channels even before the Bald Brad Show in the past. I started actually doing YouTube in 2008 with one of those flip cameras. So, and it was a news show like this, believe it or not. You won't find any footage because I deleted it. But I did a show before called God, what was it called? It was called The Bradley D Show is what it was called. The Bradley D Show. And I used to do stuff similar to this, believe it or not. Well, anyways, they don't care about what you are other than the fact of we don't like you and we're going to try to ruin your life is basically what they want to do. So you might as well just say whatever you want because they're not going to like you anyways. I'm not going to ever apologize to the left. Screw those guys. I'll apologize to you guys because I appreciate you guys. And if you guys are getting mad at me, then I probably said something dumb. And the hope is that when I apologize, because I didn't realize I said something dumb at the time or did something dumb, that you forgive me for whatever thing that I did. I mean, that's how life works, right? People make mistakes. I'm a human being. We've all said stupid stuff. And the hope is like, like we've all said something, right? And somebody comes up to us and goes, hey man, that's kind of harsh, dude. Like, why'd you say it like that? Or why'd you say it? Like, can you explain why you said that? Because sometimes you just misinterpret what somebody says. Like, that's not their true heart. Maybe it came across as a little bit sharper than it should have. Or, you know what I mean? Like, maybe you just didn't say it in the most appropriate of ways and it came out worse than what it's supposed to, which is the story of my life, by the way. But the hope is that, you're willing to listen to the person and go, oh, this was what my true intention was. This is what I meant by it. A lot of people aren't willing to give people the benefit of the doubt on stuff like that. So the statement was celebrated online with some people thanking American Eagle for not making up a BS apology for the libs. Correct. Woke mind virus is slowly dying. It almost seems that way. And I don't know if you guys feel that too, or see that, or think that, but it almost seems like we're kind of heading in the right direction here in terms of the culture, from movies to, I really do believe this. I think we're seeing a switch here. I think we're going back to normal, man. Thank God. But I hope I'm not wrong. But it seems like a lot of people are waking up and going, hey, this is not what people wanted. And I don't know if that's because the funding is leaving. I don't know if that's because of pushback from the American people. I don't know. I really don't know why it's switching back. My guess is just the pushback. And it's been a decade of pushback. And, I think maybe a lot of these progressive executives and these CEOs or whatever thought, they'll bend the knee at some point. The American people and moviegoers and those that love pop culture, they'll buy in sooner or later. We'll get them. It takes time and a lot of money to change culture, which is true, by the way. It does. It takes a long time. Things don't happen instantly. But I will say when you go a decade, it's been about 10 years that we've been dealing with this crap. We have not bent the knee. And we're not going to, because you can't force people to bend the knee on something that is true. You can't make people make believe. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. People will buy in at some point for things that maybe seem complicated. The thing you're trying to get people to bend the knee on is not complicated. It's not. I'm sorry, a man cannot become a woman and a woman cannot become a man. It cannot happen. But they went too far with it is what they did. They're trying to get you to change reality. They're trying to get you to play into some fictitious BS thing that they made up and created. And they want you to play along. And we're not going to, because we live in reality. And I could see that something is white and something is black, something is purple, something is green. And you telling me that it's a different color when it's not, I'm not going to buy into that. And people have had enough of it. We know what hot looks like. We're all men. We know what it is. We want an Americana babe. This is Americana. This is what American looks like. And by the way, so does a black person. Okay. That's why you had, let me see if I can pull it up. Somebody made a great post with Beyonce and putting what's her face right under it. What's the difference? Exactly. So Beyonce could pose in Levi jeans and it's art, but when a white woman does it, it's a national crisis. It's racist. It's Nazism. If you want the example that I used last week, I said Tyra Banks. Now, this isn't Tyra Banks, but Beyonce looks great. This is fine. I have literally zero problems with this. She's hot. Her breasts are out. This is what men want. This is what they want to see. And by the way, women want to look like this. I don't know why we're all acting. I'm so tired of people acting stupid all the time. Why do we act stupid? Not you guys. You guys get this. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Oh my God, it's terrible. Her boobies are out and she's just playing into the misogyny and the patriarchy. Well, gee, isn't it kind of weird? Like, wouldn't it be kind of weird if you had a wife and she didn't want to look good for her husband? Do you know how many times a day I slap my wife's ass? I know that's TMI, but every guy does it. It would be weird if you didn't walk past your wife and slap her ass. But, you say something like, oh my God, that's abusive. You're just treating your wife like an object. Okay, well, if you ask my wife, I don't treat her like an object. She's her own human being. She's got a nice booty. You know what I mean? Like if this walked past you, hold on a second. Let's get this in frame. It's been a while. Big old booty. bagel. I know, booty. Look at that. And you don't give that a little bit of You ain't doing it right. But again, by the way, I'll be honest, I actually would prefer this. This right here, I'm at a toss up, but I like Beyonce looks good in blonde hair, man. Anyways, so they're freaking out over that. So how does that bring in? Well, you got Lizzo. Now, Lizzo's lost some weight and she's looking better, believe it or not. Lizzo is losing some weight, and it's amazing because you just look better when you lose weight. Don't get me wrong. There's some a little bit of a chunkier women out there that look pretty good there's some women that they just have the face that just looks good. Like they look good being a little bit heavier. I'm not talking like obese like Lizzo, but this right now, the way she looks actually does not look bad to me. You could tell she's, got the cottage cheese arms a little bit. And please don't think I'm making fun of her. I'm proud that she's losing weight. Great for her. I don't like Lizzo, but she's looking better. She's looking heavier. So recording artist Lizzo got in on the trend of mocking the viral Eagle ad with Sydney Sweeney. Well, it's probably just because you don't look good in the same jeans as she does. It says here the 37-year-old rapper shared what appears to be an AI image of herself toe and dem. I guess she's wearing, okay, let's look at it. Oh, you have to go to Instagram for it. Well, don't worry because we have a thing called Twitter. So give me one moment to get those Lizzo and jeans on Twitter for you, that post, because, it's probably everywhere. There you go. There it is. There it is. Oh, you know what? I take back what I said. To be fair, this is what we're used to for the last decade, seeing this. I don't know about you, but I don't know many women that are going to be running to American Eagle. By the way, it's nothing to do with that she's black. You're just a little overweight. Is all. Like, it's not, I'm sorry. It's not as a guy, like there are guys out there that love this, by the way. It's just women know that, men know that. There's men out there that just love chunky women. More power to them and more power to the women. I don't think it's healthy to be like this, by the way. You should not be obese. I want everybody to live a long life. I don't want them to die of heart disease, all the other stuff. I mean, there's a lot of problems that come with this. But this is not hot to me. If she lost weight, she has a pretty face. So if she lost weight, face would be really, really pretty. She has a lot of potential, but that's people aren't going to be rushing to the stage for that. I mean, some guys will, right? But anyway, so Lizzo's coming out, oh, it's racist. Now, leftists melt down after a report that Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican. Yeah, so that came out. Donald Trump commented on it, so we'll see if we get that clip. But Sydney Sweeney is a Republican of Florida. So we love that about her. Now, it goes back, again, we've said it, conservative women. Now, Republican isn't conservative, but they're just hotter. I mean, how many times, boys, do we have to pull it up? Just give me one moment. Just give me one moment, please. Indulge me. How many times do we have to pull up the image of Anna Paulina Luna? And just conservative women? How many times do we got to do this? Who in the Democrat Party is even comes close to this? Comes close. Who? Now, there are some Democrats, I'll be fair, some celebrities that look good, like Beyonce. So Sydney Sweeney is a Republican. Now, there was a video that came out of her shooting. I think this is the same place that has I think this is the same place. I don't know where I don't know if it's in LA or whatever. There's a place that a lot of the celebrities go to, like Keanu Reeves goes to and does like shooting practice. But here she is, man. She's can't see. I think that is it's tough to see. It almost looks like a Glock, but I don't believe that is a Glock.
921.
Oh my.
Yeah, so this is 100% the same place that a lot of celebrities go to. I mean, folks, let me tell you something, ladies. Men love this. You get this showing up in a fucking Ford F-150 Mustang American muscle, baby. Just a rocket. Hey, we're going shooting today. This is what men want. Yeah. We'll watch it again for the boys. This one's for the boys. For some of you dykes. Some lesbians. Here we go. Good control, too. Very good control. Very, very good control. Look at that. Very steady. Yep. Nice. Let's see her spread a little bit. Let's see her spread a little bit. Okay, so that's not bad. She hits it here and then she hits it here. Not bad. Something to work on, right? It's a little high. You want to be kind of here. But, I mean, this is a great shot right here. This is a really good shot. That's a good, that is a very, you can see she's getting comfortable after the first two. Comes over here, you tighten up a little bit. Very, very good double tap right there. Yeah, it's starting to clean up. Sometimes it takes that a little bit, right? The first two can be a little bit rough, but moving forward, great job. Nice. Okay, so we got that. Oh, man. Love that. Okay, we're going to end off with this. Texas Dems can't win redistricting fight, so they bravely turn tail and flee the state. So this is what's trending right now, by the way. So Texas state lawmakers plan to break quorum, derailing a Republican-led attempt to redraw the state's voting districts, which, if Texas does so, gives the GOP 5 House seats. So the choice was clear: stand by while Abbott silences millions of Black and Latino voters, or use every tool available to stop this assault on our democracy. Notice they make it about race again. You shouldn't be doing districting based on your race, by the way. That's actually insane. But you want to know who does that? Democrats actually do that. Which is funny, because the wild thing is Democrats are fleeing Texas, the Democrat lawmakers, and going to Illinois, which is known for redistricting, by the way. And not just any type of redistricting based on race. That's the crazy thing. So it's totally hypocritical. 100% hypocritical. So they're fleeing. Let me see if I have the image for you. I might have retweeted it. Let's see here. Yeah, it's right here. So look at this. So Texas Democrat lawmakers are fleeing Texas to protest gerrymandering of the state, but they fled to Illinois, one of the worst offenders of Democrat gerrymandering in the nation. It's so insane. It does boggle the mind, folks, that Democrats really think that you're that stupid. They think you are just so dumb. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. So Texas Governor Greg Abbott says he will take steps to remove from the Texas House any Democrats who refuse to show up to work tomorrow by 3 p.m. So when did he post this? So he posted this yesterday. So let's see if he follows through on his words. Texas Democrats are refusing to show up in order to break quorum to block a vote on Texas maps, which would give Republicans 5 more seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. You need to follow through, though, or else this is just another shot over the bow. This doesn't mean you saying stuff like this. You have to follow through, or else it's meaningless. So he has till today at 3 p.m. or they do. We'll see if it actually goes through. I don't even know. Does he even have any actual authority on this? Here we go. So for any member who fails to do so, I will invoke Texas Attorney General opinion to remove the missing Democrats from membership in the Texas House. Abbott may also pursue felony charges. And the one thing people are also talking about, and let me see if I have that for you, is the plane that they're flying. So the plane that they took there cost like $17,000 or $19,000 an hour or something like that to fly over there. And here it is right here. The Texas Democrats fled their state in a $47 million jet. The jet cost $17,000 per hour to operate. That means the flight to Chicago cost nearly $100,000. Not saying the taxpayers are paying for this, but who is? Who is giving them all this money to take this flight? I mean, allegedly they don't have it. So let me get this straight. They took a $47 million jet, burned through $100,000 in taxpayer fuel. I don't know if that's taxpayer fuel. All just to run away from a vote. And these are the same people yelling about equity and climate change. No masks, no shame, no accountability, just luxury lies. Let's just luxury lies and a whole lot of lobby money. Yeah. Well, you know, they're above the rest of us. I mean, the whole party is hypocritical, man. And I just don't know how you don't see it. I've always said, I'm not saying you have to be conservative Republican. I really don't. And I'm being honest, I don't know what the Democrat Party stands for. I don't know. I mean, other than what the progressive left does, but they're called progressive lefties for a reason. They're not called Democrats. They're progressive left. In the same way a conservative is not called a Republican, it's called a conservative. We're just a part of the Republican Party. In the same way the progressive left is a part of the Democrat Party. I don't know, man. I don't know. So we'll see kind of what happens with that. But crazy. Just crazy. Speaking of the climate change, look at this. Global cooling, Time Magazine, right? 1973, 77, 77, 79. And then global warming, 87, 2001, 2006, 2007. Yeah, we were supposed to be dead a long time ago. Yeah. Weird. Anywho, that is today's show. Let's make sure that we are not missing any breaking news here. I don't think we are. And we are not. Well, that is the show. Thank you so much, guys. Should we raid somebody today? We haven't raided anybody in so long. Let's raid somebody. See if we can gain a few followers, if that's okay. So if you're over at YouTube, head over to Rumble. We're going to raid somebody. See if we can gain a few followers. We haven't done this in a hot minute. It's always nice to, expand our horizons in terms of the Bald Brad Show. Let's see if we can find somebody here. Who is live? Let's see. Man, look, can I just show you guys this real quick? I keep showing you guys this. We're right here. By the way, we were like over here, meaning we were right behind the Fox News channel. We are, remember, these are big corporations, you guys. These corporation, like millions of dollars, by the way, millions of dollars. We're right here. Everybody in front of us is almost backed by some sort of millions of dollars. We are on Rumble, one of the top morning shows. I keep saying this. I do not know how we are never on the editor's list. This is it's crazy. Look, I'm not saying I'm the best show. That's not what I'm saying. But we're one of the most popular shows. And this is all grassroots. All grassroots. I do not know how we are almost never on the editor's list. It blows my mind. I don't know why Rumble doesn't promote our channel more. I really do not know. I got a message. Actually, hold on a second. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I'm going to message actually Dylan about this and say, look, we're like one of the top performing shows in the morning. I just don't know how we're not pushed more. You know what I mean? In terms of podcasts. I guarantee you, we would blow all these people out of the water, man. So let's send you guys the Patriot Mike is what we'll do. We'll send you guys a Patriot Mike. He's always done good to us. He's a good guy. So appreciate all of you joining me. I'm gonna send you guys a Patriot Mike. I like Mike. So with that being said, pray for this country. Pray for Donald Trump. And we'll see you next time, folks. Appreciate you. God bless you.